listen to shows and read reviews online at wcbe.org.
I'm John DeSando.
And I'm Mary Urena.
Mary, it's movie time.
It is.
And I think it's the time for women to kick the everlasting butt of men.
Well, that's pretty much all you're going to get with the current release of films like Black Widow and now Gunpowder Milkshake.
All right, but everybody can see it because everybody has Netflix, right? Probably not, but
I don't want to make assumptions.
I know,
but
I know.
It's highly accessible online via Netflix. And actually it is in limited theatrical release, but I believe it's limited beyond Columbus.
Okay,
wherever
all right.
it is.
Okay, so I specially asked you here because you and I usually do highbrow movies.
Okay.
And I usually pick it off for you. And I thought, in a sense, I call it lowbrow. I don't know if it's true, but it's far more action-oriented than you and I are used to reviewing.
That is true.
And so I'm interested in the way you've responded to it. Did Bob watch it first? No?
Bob did not watch it.
I didn't think so.
There was too much good sports on this weekend for him to watch it. But I did watch it.
Okay.
And my initial reaction is that the cinematography and art direction are really fascinating.
Yes.
But I think the director spent more time on the cinematography and art direction than he and his fellow writer did on the actual dialogue and plot and story behind this film.
It's fun to do it now because of the popularity of Black Widow.
Yes.
In which you have two females, and they're two sisters, or kind of sisters, played by Scarlett Johansson and Florence Pugh. And that's a good movie. So I've jumped on this to see it right away, and my first reaction was the same as yours. Stylistically, this thing is outstanding. I mean, from its color to its choreography, it is, you were quite right.
And the color palette is really bright and neon. And
yes.
In an interview I read with the director, and I'm just going to pronounce his first name.
Thank you.
I don't know how to pronounce his last name.
Right.
He's Israeli. He's made maybe a half dozen films and television shows, so he's young in his career.
Right.
And he spent a lot of time talking about the color palette in this interview I read, and that yellow represents death.
Okay.
And so you see bright yellow, even though that seems opposite of what you would expect in terms of death and destruction. But it's fascinating, the colors, it seems like a futuristic city, but the center scenes are played in a 1950s style diner with the waitresses wearing 1950s style outfits and hairdos.
With Rose in charge.
With Rose
and she
in
asks
charge.
If she can relieve you, is it, of your burden or something?
Yes, when you go in, you're not allowed to carry any guns.
Part of the unbelievability of it, these goons would just hand their guns over.
And then there's like some futuristic references, like especially the hospital or clinic.
Yeah.
Where,
actually, a dentist in the day, and then he's a mob doctor.
Yeah, it reminded me a lot of Clockwork Orange.
Yeah.
With just this modernistic,
Oh,
futuristic take on what a health clinic would look like.
Oh, and empty halls.
Halls.
Very
and,
bright.
And bright green lighting.
Yes,
and,
yes.
Yeah, so all of those things really stand out to you, and even a little bit of the throwback scene to the library, which is really code for a weapons exchange place.
What a set piece. I love that.
It is gorgeous, and that's kind of more of an antiquity approach that you would expect in a library, but very detailed, very elaborate, very representational portraiture on the main back wall. There's a mural that has 4 lionesses and a little lion cub.
Yeah, and when you open the door, there's actually a lion there, I think, or there was.
The male lion is actually on the door.
Yes, on the door, I know. And when I love it because, as you would say, representational, because there's so much for our protagonist of growth going on there. And the library seemed to be a really good place for it. And of course, it's not what it seems to be.
No.
You have probably 4 very well-known actresses playing very accomplished assassins. who you first wouldn't know it right away, but Angela Bassett. Um,
Michelle Yeoh.
Oh, Michelle Yeoh, who was born to do this kind of thing.
Well, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon kind of gives her away with
I know it
regards to
does.
her
Yeah.
action movie abilities.
Well, but Sam, young Sam, who I think was channeling Jennifer Lawrence, for me.
I would agree.
You know, and probably criticized for being stoic, for lacking some energy. But I thought that was the director and her interpretation of this character who was kind of grimly going through life. Typical, mother has abandoned her, or she's separated from her mom. So it's again about home and family, just as it is in Black Widow, and practically everything else that's of the heroic quality these days is about family. So, so she is, however, and she's a teen.
When
Would
we
you say?
meet her, she's a teen.
And then
when we
she's-
revisit her for the main part of the film and the story, she's an adult woman.
Do you know that teen is actually another actress? I thought they had just gussied her up to make.
No, another actress.
Isn't that amazing to
And
me?
they look uncannily alike.
Wow! Yes, they
Yes.
really do.
I thought they had done some sort of CGI
Well, me
magic
too.
to make her look like she
Exactly.
was 15.
I did too. I couldn't believe it. So you have them connecting with Lena Headey plays Scarlett,
Yes.
and I think people.
And that's the mother of Sam, the
Yeah.
protagonist in the film.
And I think people would know her maybe from TV or something.
Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones, that's
Yes.
right, which I've never seen, but you know right away that she
I
is.
do know
She's a
right away. And there are
beautiful
several actors in this film who are GOT alumni.
So anyway, and then you've got who else as the director of HR of the firm,
Yeah.
Paul Giamatti, who is just
And that is the firm, capital T, capital F, by the way.
Yes, thank
It's
you.
Dark, nefarious, you don't know quite what they do except order assassinations.
Well, what I like, Mary, is the obvious allegorical interpretation. These are men.
Yes.
And these women are about to change things. Hey, however, you begin with them being engaged as assassins by the firm.
Right, they were recruited and trained by the firm.
Yes.
Inevitably, it seems like every single one of them had something go wrong.
Yes.
Which is what happens to Sam in one of her assignments.
Yes.
And it causes the firm, and it's funny that he's the head of HR, because I think most of us who have worked in the public sector or the private sector would know that HR is really there to protect the interests of the firm.
Right.
Not the actual human resources that make up the firm and do the work of the firm.
Well,
so it's ironic and a little bit darkly humorous. That
It is, and Giamatti's appropriately world-weary of all this, because actually he likes young Sam, and
when her mother abandons her, she actually leaves Nathan, the name of Paul's character, in charge of looking out for her and caring for her. So there's somewhat of a paternal relationship between Nathan and Sam that is put to the test when things go south.
If you were to talk about this as something more, well, let me say this. I think it's a very bright parody of all of these hero films and the Hong Kong martial arts films and so on. And I think that if people, even you, would think about it, right? Even you would think about it as parody, much of it would be more acceptable to you, because I accept right away that this is just going to be fun.
I did, because I had taken your advice before we had seen it, when you referred to it as lowbrow, so my expectations weren't high.
Okay, good.
And when I first started watching it from the get-go, I felt like I was watching a comic book or a graphic novel being played out in live action. So that's the part that kind of drew me in. What I found disappointing about the parody is I thought a lot of the comedic references somewhat fell flat.
Okay.
And I also felt like the script with regards to the feminist bent was very obvious in the stilted dialogue they deliver, especially the big speech at the end, if you want to call it that. And I felt the script maybe to gain the feminine perspective, which is what you get the sense that this is supposed to be about, could have used a woman's touch, because it's actually written by
Good.
2 men and directed by a man, and I'm not sure
Very good, yeah.
they struck the right chord with regards to sharp-witted females who can kick your butt at a moment's notice.
Yeah. And I think that that Neville probably had his intention from the very title to have you put that next to Pulp Fiction, to see the Tarantino, and I see the Tarantino
Oh,
all
there's
over.
a lot of
Right,
references.
Right,
sure.
a lot, including the milkshake one, and go back to see that milkshake scene between Travolta and Uma Thurman, and it's wonderful.
Yeah.
You know, this is a fudge and milk case, and milkshake. He said
Yes.
that, I don't know if it's worth $5, but it's a fudge and milk. And Travolta at his best. So anyway, oh gosh, I guess Mary. Listen, I don't know if we've done enough duty for this film, but it's called the Gunpowder Milkshake. What advice can you give our audience?
Go in with low expectations and you'll probably have some fun with it. But since you referenced it, I would say if you're looking for sharp story writing, sharp lines, and great acting, go see Pulp Fiction.